Hey guys, it's Ani. Today we are going to talk about something really fun and interesting. And I know a lot of you have probably sometime or another asked yourself what to do in situations like this. I know before me knowing about law of assumption or law of attraction, I was really into the whole like playing hard to get and psychologically like how you could be more like a magnet for love and attraction and feminine energy, masculine energy, right? So if you have ever questioned um about that, like if you've ever questioned yourself about that, like what to do or how to do it, and or even maybe tried stuff like that and it hasn't worked, I'm going to address it today in this video. Also, I'm going to share a success story with you. um One of my clients that tried the Manifest Your SP Now course has been getting so much movement with her specific person. So I will get into it right now, you guys. All right. So you guys, before I and I know a lot of you are interested in this topic too, because it's so funny. My client, the success story that I'm going to talk about a little later, she also asked me about this. I also saw someone in the comments asking about the playing hard to get stuff. So it just is all linked together, and that's why I'm inspired to make this video. Um Before knowing about law of assumption or law of attraction, I used to think very like logically, like I mean, it's still logical what we're talking about, but like, before you know that you have power, you're looking for it outside of you constantly, like maybe tactics, maybe um I don't know, like there's just so many books, and I don't want to put those books down, because in like for someone that's not understanding law of assumption, it can help you. Like if you think that something's going to help you, it's going to help you. If you believe it's going to help you, it's going to help you, right? But the real truth is, you don't have to go through steps of like learning all these psychological moves and how to play hard to get, and like, oh, if they call, maybe I shouldn't call back, maybe I should call them back 3 days later for them to really like fear losing me or stuff like this. If you've tried any of that, or if you've thought you have to do any of this, comment down below, because I used to be one of those people, and I used to be really good at it too. But it's not permanent, it's temporary, because your your beliefs behind it is effort. I gotta put in so much effort. What's the next move, what's this move, what's that move, right? Like when you're trying to play hard to get, or when you're trying to play games because you think that's the correct way to do things in relationships or whatever, right? Or maybe you heard someone say like, oh, when they text you this, you need to reply back this. Or if you're very like dependent on stuff like that, this video is for you, because I used to get stuck in things like that, and I used to watch every video, every feminine, masculine energy type of video and stuff. And I'm not saying it's non-existent, but there's just an easier way. Like when you're learning law of assumption and you're applying it, it's just so much more easier than putting yourself through all that stress. You know what I mean? So, for example, if you believe, let's say you're you're a female considered with a lot of masculine energy, right? So you're like a beast in the workplace, in the business mode. You get stuff done. You don't really let people do stuff for you, right? I was like that. And I used to think, because I used to listen to all these videos, that I can't be like that if I want a masculine man, which my SP is very masculine. If I want my SP, then I have to be very extremely feminine. Like I cannot be in that beast mode of doing things if I want that type of man. If you believe this to be true and it's working for you, good. But I want to mention here that if it's not working for you, I want you to understand that law of assumption is your assumptions are creating your reality. Your thoughts, your beliefs, and assumptions are creating your reality. So if you're constantly hearing that you need to be extremely feminine, or you need to play hard to get in order for you to get your guy, and you're believing it, unfortunately, you have to apply those things in order for you to get those things in return, because you've already created an assumption and a belief in you. But we can always change our thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. That's the whole thing about our channel, right? Like, we need to change our thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. Number one, to make it more easy and effortless for you. And number two, because you're in full control at all times. There's no rules or validation outside of you that you need to receive or to apply in order to get things done. Okay? So, for example, the moment I realized that those rules and like playing hard to get and stuff is not true is when I looked back into other relationships that I had, and I was still very, very in my masculine energy or whatever, right? The guy was very macho masculine as well, but he was all over me, all over me. So I didn't have to change my energy, or I didn't have to play hard to get in order for that person to be all over me. I just had the assumption that this person is head over heels in love with me. I had nothing else to change. But when comes a person where you're not so confident about that, because maybe you've seen some behavior in them that doesn't make you feel they're head over heels in love with you. Now you start questioning yourself, and now you start making things up in your head like, oh, maybe I need to play hard to get in order to get more evidence from them that they're really into me, right? Like, we've all been there. Male, female, doesn't matter. I just want you guys to know that that is all assumption. So if you've played hard to get and it's worked, now you have a belief system that if whenever I play hard to get, it works with that person. So it's going to work. If you have tried to play hard to get and it hasn't worked, you've actually pushed the other person away. Now you have an assumption that it doesn't work on that person. But where can you go? What can you do to always have solid movement and consistent movement? You go within and you create your story of how you want stuff to be with your specific person. So you need to start creating a story of how this person feels about you, how you feel about them, how you guys are together. What are your new assumptions? Write down all your old assumptions that do not serve you, and start looking at it for what it is. Does this assumption serve me? Oh, this person only comes to me when they're free, or whenever they make, like, whenever it's convenient for them, right? I'm not a priority. So let's say that's a number one assumption you have, right? Obviously that assumption's not serving you, but it's obviously playing out in your 3D reality, right? So instead of trying to work around them not making you a priority and starting to play hard to get so they can change, just change your assumption, right? That's, as humans, as reactors, that's what we tend to do, because we forget so much that the power is within us, the assumptions are within us, the beliefs are within us. It all starts from that root first. We forget that. So what we do is we leave the root where it is, which is not chosen, not wanted, low self-concept, they don't choose me, that I'm not a priority. So we keep the root there and we try to work around it by tactics. And if you believe the tactics will work, they will, but you're going to have a hard time. You're going to constantly work around. It's going to take a lot more effort from you, a lot more action from you. It's going to be very exhausting. You're going to feel like giving up a lot, rather than changing the root assumption and persisting in that changed assumption and changed story. Does that make sense, you guys? If it makes sense, comment down below. For example, with my SP, because I've always had the assumption my SP is very macho. My SP is very, 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 very intelligent and very smart. And he reads energy very well. So every time I would, before knowing about law of assumption, every time I would try to play hard to get, he would always be like, Ani, that doesn't work on me. And I used to think I was so slick because it would work on everyone else, right? Because you read all these books, right, about psychological tactics or whatever. And he would always tell me that doesn't work on me. That doesn't work on me. First of all, I'm older than you. I'm wiser than you. Like he would say all these things, but he would feel it. He would feel it. And why do your SPs feel that from you? Because it's coming from lack. Because the energy, the root energy, the root assumption, the reason you're even trying to read a book on tactics or how to play hard to get, or even when you're applying hard to get stuff in order for them to do something, the root assumptions coming from lack, and they feel the lack. You cannot lie to your specific person because they feel the energy and they're you pushed out. So they always feel what you feel. If you feel anxious, worried that you're going to lose them, or you need to do things outside of yourself to get them, they feel that. And most of the times it pushes them away. The only time playing hard to get works is if you're really confident in what you're doing. And why does it play out? Because of your confidence and your assumption and your belief behind it, not because of the tactic you're playing. I have a lot of experience on this, you guys. I used to read everything. Everything. Fun fact, my mom would take me to the library every single day when I was a little kid in elementary. She would take me, and my mom was a reader as well when she was younger. So she would take me every single day after school to the library, and we would pick a book, and I would read a lot. I even won a medal. I didn't bring it here, but I should show you guys one day. I won a medal on reading 100 books in 100 days. And I got the principal's award at school. And that's kind of crazy now thinking about it. But the reason I'm telling you all this is it played out in my adulthood too. So I started to read in high school and college and even now. And before knowing about law of assumption, all I would read is about tactics and playing hard to get and psychological, like in the business world, how you got to be in relationships, how you got to be, all these things. You guys are probably familiar with the books, like let's say like power books too, like 48 Laws of Power, or Why Men Marry Bees, or you know what I mean. So it all comes down to, once you start understanding law of assumption and law of attraction, then you realize it's not the tactics, it's the belief behind the tactic. It's the belief and the assumption behind it. So you can play hard to get all you want. If you don't feel confident in what you're doing, you're never going to get the result. Okay? But with law of assumption, the best part about law of assumption is you do not have to believe or feel what you are affirming and persisting in affirming. You do not have to believe or feel it, because your subconscious is taking it in anyway with repetition. With repetition, you're imprinting your subconscious mind, and it's going to push out eventually. So that's the best part. It's so much more easier. It might not feel easy right now because you're all over the place and you're like questioning everything. But once you persist in a thought or an affirmation, affirmations are thoughts, by the way. They're not techniques. Affirmations are not techniques, you guys. Affirmations are literal sentences you say to yourself or you write down with repetition in order to imprint your subconscious mind. Okay? On your subconscious mind. All right. So in my personal experience and in this client's success story as well that I'm going to share soon, I taught her that whatever I'm saying to you guys right now, if you feel like none of those things that you learned about outside validation are working, it's because, number one, you're doing it out of fear of losing the person. The only reason you would think that or do that is because you fear losing them. So you're trying everything and anything to keep them, right? Number two, that other person feels that you're coming from lack because they're you pushed out. Okay. Number three, you just can go easier. And instead of tiptoeing around the assumption you have currently and trying to change it outside of everything, you just change the assumption. You change the root cause instead of around it, right? So I went over all this with that client, and she literally started getting so much movement with her specific person because of this one thing, because she just stepped back. And isn't it amazing just to know that, like, if you're coming from lack and because everyone's you pushed out, that person feels it, you knowing that is such a game changer. Because if you know that when you come from lack, you can't really hide those beliefs and assumptions from that other person because they're you pushed out, they're gonna feel that from you too, they're gonna think it from you too, then you got to get onto the changing of the root assumptions, right? That's how I felt. That's how my client felt. Like, when you know that person feels it and thinks it, even the lack from you, you're like, oh, I really need to change that now, because there's no hiding from it. You cannot hide from everyone as you pushed out. You cannot hide. When you're feeling lack, everyone around you is going to feel that from you, or they're going to start behaving in a way where it's going to portray more and more lack. Okay. So my client, she didn't write it in an email. She actually met with me to tell me this. But she had done the Manifest Your SP Now course, and you guys have been so amazing. Those of you trying it, sending in so many success stories. And I love that, because you can do it on your own and you can learn on your own. And it's just fun. It's some homework in there that you got to do, but you applying it on your own, you doing it on your own. I mean, I'm guiding you through it, obviously, in the course. So I'm giving you tips and tricks, pointers. I'm talking about my personal experience in the courses as well. So you have a lot of info. It's like an hour's worth of information in the course. And I'm guiding you through each and every step. And you have homework as well at the end of it that you can apply on a daily basis. So if you can't meet with me, it's a great way to get a kickstart and start seeing results with your SP, right? And you guys, I just want to say, like, you do not have to get one-on-one coaching. You do not have to get courses. You do not have to get anything. But if you're anything like me and you get really anxious, like I used to get so anxious when I was first learning all this and trying to apply it. I used to see opposite results from SP. Like, it was just a lot. So it helps when someone that's gone through it is guiding you, obviously, but it's not a requirement. So just keep that in mind. If you're interested in the Manifest Your SP Now course, or Remove the Third Party course, or Manifest Money and Abundance Now, in any of my courses, the link is going to be in the description box down below, or you guys can go to the website and it's under Ani's courses. So the client that got results from my course, she started looking at her root assumptions about specific person, and even about yourself, like what you feel, what your root assumptions are about your specific person, relationships, and about yourself, even about how people treat you. Your root assumptions, you really want to look at those assumptions. Write them down. I always say this, write them down. Look at them. Look at them for what they are. They're words and thoughts. They're not real. Maybe they followed up with real behavior from people, but just remember that your now moment is a brand new moment. You do not have to bring the past into now and say that's a thing. That's just how people treat me. No, Your right now is a brand new moment. What you affirm and what you continue to affirm going forward, you will start seeing the evidence going forward. So please do not think you're stuck. You are never stuck. You are never, ever stuck in, oh, that happened to me. That must mean it's always going to happen to me. No way. Broke people turn into billionaires all the time. People struggling in love and relationships get married to the love of their lives all the time. They have breakthroughs all the time. You guys see it on the channel all the time. So most of this is just you convincing yourself that the real truth is you have power. It's not outside of you. The real truth is you have power. And if you persist in it long enough, you will see the evidence of it going forward. So she started applying the assumptions, the root assumptions, right? The change in them, the new story, the affirmations. So she went from her SP not caring about putting her first at all, not making her a priority at all, never going out on dates, never making like a special romantic time for her, to now he is literally calling her every day and asking her what her plans are for the day because he wants to join in on it. He wants to be a part of it. And he's saying things like, I love you so much, like you're the best thing that ever happened to me. And she said all this through our one-on-one sessions, and it's just so amazing, you guys. Like, if you believe in yourself and you really apply the work, it's not going to take a long time for you to see changes. But if you have a belief that it's going to take a long time, if you have an assumption that, oh, I have so much to change, then guess what has to happen? It's going to take a while for you to change it. That's how powerful you are with your assumptions. That's how powerful you are. So if you guys were anything like me, reading all these psychological tactic books, even my client that I share with you, playing hard to get all the rules, applying them, seeing a little bit of changes, but not really seeing any movement with your specific person going forward, because you would always come back to the same behavior from them. Just know that you're more powerful with law of assumption, law of attraction. Your law of attraction, you're so much more powerful. Your power is within you. It's not outside of you in these tactics and stuff. But also, if it's worked for you, just understand why it's worked for you, because you assumed it's going to work for you. It's that placebo thing. You assumed it's going to work for you. You believed it's going to work for you. You probably had past evidence in your life that it's worked for you in the past. That's why it's working for you, because dominant assumptions and dominant beliefs will always play out, you know? Now, if you're having trouble setting boundaries or anything like that, I want you guys to know that boundaries are healthy. Like, I don't want you to be someone that's being taken advantage of. I don't want it to be like a toxic situation. But also remember, again, when you feel like I have to set a lot of boundaries because this person is not showing up the way I want them to, just remember, setting boundaries sometimes, excessive boundaries, like even like calling or texting, right? Like, let's say nothing's wrong in your relationship and you guys are in communication, but you're like, nope, I'm not going to call or text my SP. Nope. They need to run after me. They need to chase me. Even though everything's fine, even though we had a great conversation the other day, I'm not going to call or text them because they need to learn how to, come towards me and chase me and pursue me. This is coming from lack. This is coming from lack, you guys. You're coming from a place of, this person doesn't chase me, doesn't pursue me, this person doesn't even care, so I need to distance myself in order for them to care. And the reason I know this is because I used to do it all the time, and it's wrong. It's wrong because you're not paying attention to your root assumption. You're paying attention to the outside 3D behavior. And you know, by watching me, hearing me, or listening to anyone from this channel, you know that 3D is dead. 3D happened already. 3D is your old thoughts, assumptions, and beliefs that played out. So your job is not to look at 3D and try to change 3D. Your job is to look at what's inside of you and what's dominant inside of you and change those roots and assumptions and persist in that in order for that to change. If you change that, you don't have to do anything outside of you. You don't have to play hard to get. You don't have to tap into feminine energy, masculine energy. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to do rituals or anything like that. Now, I'm very into like what you think is helping you, like keep doing it, because I don't want to break or make you feel like things that you've been doing that have been working for you, you should stop it. But just know that it's working because you truly have this dominant thought and assumption that that's why it's working. It is the placebo, you guys. Like, for example, my mom worked as a nurse, and they were working at a medical like clinic, and someone came in tripping out, like really bad panic, anxiety, whatever. And another nurse was helping her, but my mom was watching the whole thing, because my mom's the reason, you guys, for me being even here in this field right now, because she didn't know about law of assumption or law of attraction, but she really spoke it into me, like, nope, you're not going to speak negative, you're not going to think negative, you're always going to think positive, you're never going to worry about losing anything, you're always going to think about abundance. Like, she literally fed that to me as a child, even till now. And now I'm the one explaining to her, like, Mom, do you know you've known law of assumption all your life? You just didn't know how it works. You just assume things. And now she's applying it to her life, and she's getting so much success too. But so they were at a clinic. She was watching this other nurse help this person that came in with extreme panic. And that person was like, you need to inject me with like a relaxant, like a morphine or something. I don't remember the details of the story, so please don't like come at me for this. But I believe that person was like addicted to a certain drug. And that person was like, you need to inject me right now with this relaxant so I can feel good. So the nurse injected them with saline. And that person was like, oh, I feel so good now. Thank you so much. I needed that dose. And my mom was telling me this. She was like, it was complete placebo. Like, it was complete, like, that person just trusted that person would give them that dose of that drug. And they believed it dominantly that this is really happening, and they calmed down. Their nerves, their feelings, their emotion, all just calmed down. So when you believe something to be true and you apply it, it's your assumption behind it and your belief behind it that's helping you. So when you do not, the whole point of this video is when you do not believe something's going to happen, right? I want you to know you do not have to feel or believe it's going to happen. You have to persist in it. So what I see in most of my clients is they're not persisting. They're just hoping or wishing. They're not persisting in the affirmation. They're not believing their thoughts create. So what you want to do is you want to persist, and you want to maybe build your belief. Maybe start affirming for other things. Start intending for other things. Make a list of other things you want to see in your life that you don't have so much resistance towards. Start working towards that. And the more you see that happening, the more you see those intentions coming true and happening and manifesting quickly, the more you have built that belief in you, when you're just like, okay, my thoughts create. I can't run from this, right? All right, guys. So if you have resonated with this video, please comment down below. We still have that, what's that called? Not competition. We still have that giveaway going, where you can win 3 free coaching sessions. All you have to do is like the video, subscribe to our channel, comment down below, and you will have a chance to win 3 coaching sessions for free. If you guys are interested in my courses, the link is going to be in the description box down below. I have the Manifest Your SP Now course, the Remove the Third Party course, and the Money and Abundance course. So remember, if you are purchasing any of the courses, do not worry about the date or the time. Once you purchase the course, you have full access to it. I hope this video was helpful, you guys. I love all of you. And I intend every single one of you start seeing movement in your manifesting journey. See you in the next video. Bye.